It's been about a year since I restarted the Blackbird Productions channel with new automotive content. And honestly, just being a YouTuber in 2025 has just been absolutely insane. So in this video, I'll be sharing my experience as an automotive creator here on YouTube, and I'll also be giving away some tips for anyone who might be interested in creating YouTube videos in this space. And then towards the end of this video, I'll be giving you guys some updates for the Blackbird Productions channel, just because I know I've sort of taken just a week-long hiatus. If you don't know why that is, definitely check out my last video. You can check it out in a card somewhere above here. That'll get you up to speed, and then you can come back to this video and continue watching. I'll start this video with somewhat of a retrospective just of the channel in general, since I restarted it back in last June. So think of this video as just a look back at the rebirth of the Blackbird channel and also a roadmap for what's to come for the Blackbird channel moving forward. But first, for those who are new here, my name is John and this is Blackbird Productions. On this channel, I create car reviews with a cinematic touch, and I also make other car-centric content sort of in the vein of commentary, but it's really whatever is on my mind. I just make videos about it and I talk about it. And I make new videos every month. I'll be changing the upload schedule, and again, we'll be talking about those changes towards the end of this video. But if you can't wait, or you just want to skip to those channel changes, maybe you're a subscriber and you're just wanting to stay informed, I'll leave a timestamp below, or better yet, I'll actually have some chapters laid out to where you could actually skip to that section of the video. But if you are new here and you're into this kind of content, definitely consider subscribing and also dropping a like on the video. It would definitely help me out as a YouTuber trying to grow their presence on YouTube. So definitely consider doing that, and thank you so much in advance. Now, with that said, let's talk about YouTube. I revived the channel back in June 2024, roughly. This was around the time when I got laid off. So you could say I had a lot of time on my hands between now and today. So I decided to jump back into YouTube. And I would say before I made automotive content on YouTube, I was actually making Minecraft videos of all things. And some of those videos popped off. Some of those, were just for fun. But from a high level overview, I've been doing YouTube since roughly 2013, on and off, across different niches. But more recently, I decided to revive this channel with the goal of creating car review content. At the time, I wasn't entirely sure how I would source cars to review, so I started with my own, and that was the new Model 3 Performance at the time. That video was received quite well, which led me to create more content around my Tesla ownership experience. Even today, those videos perform quite well despite how politically charged the Tesla brand has become. And from what I've observed both online and offline, the Tesla community exists in a bit of a bubble, largely detached from the broader discussion surrounding the brand in general, which I think is interesting, to say the least. But one thing I noticed while making those Tesla videos is, for one, obviously they were going relatively viral, just because in the grand scheme of YouTube, when you take your subscriber count and your viewer count into consideration when you're making videos, and say you have a video go from 0 views to 5,000 views, and within maybe about 3 days to a week, and you only have 500 subscribers, that is considered viral in the YouTube traditional sense. Like, you might see something viral as, oh, it has 22 million views, so it has to be viral. But when you're first starting out and you're a small YouTuber, that is considered viral. But anyway, when I was making those videos, I was getting consistently, I'd say around 2,000 to 3,000 views per video. But at the time I was making Tesla content, I was thinking, well, what about the other car content that I just sort of promised myself I'd make while reviving this channel? Just because Tesla just isn't the only car brand that I enjoy. And you've heard me say it across a number of my videos already, but I have had the opportunity to experience a wide range of different cars. And while experiencing those cars and also just wanting to revive this channel, I wanted to just share those experiences with you all, just through the form of insights and also car reviews. So having this thought in mind, this led me just to my first car review, and it was a supercar called the McLaren Artura. Now, while that review didn't perform nearly as well as my Tesla content at the time, I generally enjoyed the creative process of putting it together. Plus, by sharing that video, I gained a few new subscribers who became part of my core audience. And you could say that sort of leads me into my first tip for content creation on YouTube. And that is, do what you love, but don't be afraid to experiment with new types of content. Just make sure it doesn't stray too far away from your core niche. Also, YouTube is a long game. Just like investing in a stock, or even investing in yourself through something like college, or even getting to a point financially where you can buy that first house for yourself or even your family. So I wouldn't get too wrapped up into the metrics of things. Instead, scroll out and look at both the progress made to grow your presence on YouTube and also find ways you can improve. Now, the next big thing you might be wondering is how in the world was I able to consistently get over 1,000 views on my Tesla content specifically? Which is crazy because consistency is something I'm personally not the best at, but essentially on YouTube, when you have one video perform abnormally well apart from other content that you make, that should be a signal for you to make more of that type of content. And it's a funny thing because YouTube actually rewards those types of videos where you just consistently make sort of the same content and people watch it. And YouTube tends to recommend that content more. But the key thing is when it's recommending that content, and let's just say you're getting, 1,000 views here, 3,000 views there, 5,000 views. The fact of the matter is those views are actually visitors, and they're not necessarily like your loyal audience. They're more or less just visitors, just visiting your stuff, seeing what's going on. And, they might like something, they might leave a comment, but ultimately you're going to have to put in a little bit more effort to get them to be a subscriber, or in this case, retain some of those visitors, let's just say. I hope that makes sense. And before I forget, thumbnails are also a pretty big deal. I know in some niches it doesn't really matter, but in the automotive niche, I found that it is pretty important. I personally use stills from my B-roll footage, and while I used to overlay them with text, I eventually found that a single high quality photo of the car I'm discussing, whether it's a review or a Tesla related video, was far more aesthetically pleasing and gave my channel a much more cleaner look overall. One of the main reasons I made this change was because I started thinking about the first impression my channel makes on a new viewer. And you could say I asked myself, if someone clicks on my channel for the first time, whether it be like on a browser or on their phone or even on the TV, what do I want them to see? And I realized that having a clean, cohesive visual aesthetic across my content might not only encourage them to check out my videos, but also make them more likely to subscribe, just because, I don't know, maybe they appreciate the clean aesthetic. I'm still experimenting, but personally, I like the aesthetic. I love a clean, minimal aesthetic. And that's essentially what I'm going for with the channel, or at least the aesthetic of the channel. So the next big thing is understand your audience. Contrary to popular belief, when you're just starting out on YouTube, and let's just say you rack up hundreds of thousands of views across, I don't know, let's just say hypothetically 4 videos, those numbers don't necessarily represent a loyal audience. They're just visitors passing through. And think of this like running a shop. Some people walk by, some people step inside to browse, and some might even leave signs that they were there, whether it's a like, a comment, or most importantly, a subscription. The other thing to remember is that views are borrowed. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around this concept personally, just because it's so, you could say it's a little heartbreaking to know that, the people who are actually viewing your content, they're not necessarily there to always stick around. There's a small percentage of people that are willing to stick around for other videos, and they do subscribe. But the reality is YouTube is just recommending your content to people that it thinks might like your content. And not all those people will like your content. Some people might watch one video and never watch another video again. Some people might watch 3 videos and they may not subscribe. So you're kind of butting up against that sort of dilemma when you're making videos on YouTube. The other thing is, at some point you'll hit a down period where you're not getting the same volume of views as before. And that's just the harsh reality of YouTube. Even bigger YouTubers go through this sort of thing. And honestly, it's a constantly changing platform in terms of viewer taste and behavior. And the key is to keep experimenting with new content to attract fresh audiences while not straying too far from your niche of content. So people have different definitions of what a niche is, but I'll tell you what I think a niche is, just in the grand scheme of YouTube. So my channel, I would put it into the category of automotive. It's a very broad category, and that's essentially what I want the channel to be. I want it to be a broad category for a place where people can find information and also be entertained through a variety of different automotive pieces of content. Some people, they drill down into much more narrower niches. Like, for example, there are some channels that are considered automotive channels, but they exclusively focus on Tesla. and all of their videos are about Tesla. You can be a Rivian channel. You can have, you could say that you're an automotive channel, but you only focus on Rivian trucks and cars and Rivian news. You can be a technology channel, but you can only focus on Apple products, which is also a very, very large niche. I say it's like a niche of a niche. At least that's what I'm thinking of, because you have technology and then you have Apple. But the reality is Apple has so large of a fan base and so many people use their devices across the world. It's sort of elevated past, the technology niche, and it's kind of its own dedicated niche, as opposed to just having a narrower niche within technology, if that makes sense. The last thing I'll touch on in this retrospective of sorts is the importance of passion in what you create. The reality is we live in a time where so many people just copy what others are doing, whether it's grifters churning out content purely for money, AI slop, recycled trends, stuff like that. All that stuff, to me, honestly, it has no real originality. And instead of falling into that trap, one of the things I think about is being transformative in my approach personally to YouTube. And I don't know about you, but when I look at my favorite creator, I want to know that they enjoy what they're creating, as opposed to just, they're putting out the latest slop for the week or something like that. And I want them to portray that, whether that's through the details in their thumbnails, the way they structure a video, or the effort they put into making content stand out from other things out there. But at the end of the day, passion is what keeps you going when views fluctuate ultimately, or even when YouTube's algorithm isn't working in your favor. If you genuinely love what you're doing, your audience will see that. And that's what ultimately builds a community that sticks with you for the long term. And honestly, all of these factors combined are just the crazy reality of being a YouTuber in 2025, at least in the automotive space. It involves constant refinement, constant experimentation, consistency, which again, something I'm trying to improve on and get better at. But it involves all of those things. And honestly, it's a lot of effort just for one person to take on. But if you have passion and you just genuinely enjoy what you do, then I feel like that can carry you through, the storms and all the things that you might face when you're making YouTube videos. Now, I could end this video off here, but I also have some important channel updates to share. So let's talk about what's changing moving forward and what you can expect from Blackbird Productions in the coming months. So the first thing I was thinking about was I'd like to take somewhat of an artist approach to making content here on YouTube. And if you don't know, art is usually created when it's done, and it doesn't necessarily stick to a set schedule or a due date. So I thought about removing myself from a set upload schedule. So the current schedule is 2 uploads a week, not any particular day, but I usually upload Wednesdays, or I'd say like lately, like Saturday, Sunday. But anyway, I thought about removing myself from this set schedule, but I still believe that uploading on YouTube still requires some level of commitment. So you can expect 1 to 3 uploads on the Blackbird channel each month as opposed to each week. The other thing I'll be changing is the content on Blackbird Productions. I'd like to lean more into car reviews because it's content that I do generally enjoy putting together. And originally I wanted to make 2 car reviews per month. I said this to myself towards the beginning of the year, and I was thinking about like all the time and effort, coordination, editing, all of that stuff. And I just couldn't bring myself to do that, especially with the 2 videos per week upload schedule. Another thing I was thinking about was making 1 car review per week. And this kind of glossed over my mind. It's not something I was totally committed to doing, but it was something I was thinking about because I know some YouTubers out there, they do that. And there's one I even am subscribed to that creates a new car review every single day. And sometimes he uploads multiple car reviews every day. And I'm just like, how in the world can you do that? Like, how do you have the headspace to do that? And they do it full time. So it's crazy. But I was thinking, if I were to do that, then I feel like the quality of my car reviews will take a nosedive. And I honestly like putting out high quality content for you guys. And in some ways, I feel like the elements that I incorporate in my car reviews, this being just the overall cinematic elements and the layout and the format itself, is particularly unique for the automotive niche. I've seen some comments saying that my videos look like mini movies, but it's just like a car review. And that's essentially the aesthetic that I'm going for when I'm making car reviews. And when I see comments like that, it definitely makes my day, because it tells me that I'm hitting the right buttons and I'm doing the right things. And it honestly, like, I'm just getting chills thinking about it, just because it's so exciting to just hear someone say something like that about a car review video on YouTube. So for these reasons, I'll be doing only one car review per month, paired with some commentary based uploads in between. And sort of the last thing I want to mention is, over the past week, I've been also focusing on how I'd like my content to be presented across YouTube. And I've been very into the dark academia decor aesthetic, which is a literary aesthetic and a subculture typically tied to higher education, just the overall arts, and also literature. I've been using this style to influence some of my design decisions within thumbnails specifically, and so far I like it. And that is all she wrote. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Honestly, I'm gonna edit this together, and I can guarantee it probably might be over 30 minutes. Maybe. This might be a really big chunker of a video. So if you made it this far, like, truly, thank you. Thank you so much. I do get rewarded by viewer watch time, so that's sort of like another tip to add in your brain as you're thinking about making content on YouTube. So for those who stick around for the entirety of the video, thank you so much. And while you're here, why not just leave a like and also consider subscribing? Like I said in the beginning, I make car reviews, and I also make other car-centric content now, instead of every week, every month. So again, if you're into that kind of stuff, consider subscribing. This has been John with Blackbird Productions. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.